Hello, and welcome to Shite Talk, an Irish history podcast. It's just Jason, myself here, doing the intro because Kevin literally just ran out the door. We were recording this, even though it's in the middle of Storm Barra. That man, crazy as he is, went to go do a gig down in Dublin. I'm currently in Carlow, locked in with this Storm Barra. So also, that is, if you hear wind or rain or any point during the episode, that's what it is. Also, we said in the last episode, because the audio was pretty bad, from now on we would have our producer Dan with us, but there's a big giant storm and we wanted to get this done and out to you in case you're all locked down somewhere around the country. So I'll keep the intro short, as I always do when I'm on my own. But before we get into the story, I would like to say two quick things. One, that we have a live gig tomorrow in Kilkenny and we've got a couple of tickets left, so if anyone wants to come and see us do this thing live in front of your faces, go check out Eventbrite for some of the remaining tickets, or there'll be links for it on our Instagram bio, I imagine, as well. Now, the other thing is that we keep forgetting to plug our Patreon properly. We've got like extra bonus episodes behind that, and there's going to be more to come, especially now over Christmas and the fact that we're both in the same country and have some free time finally. So if you do have an interest in the A, just supporting us, or B, listening to some extra bonus episodes like the Sean Quinn episodes that we had to put behind the paywall, basically all the Cowboy specials. I know I definitely have one on the IOC Pat Hickey ticketing scandal that we never really promoted anywhere, but that's back there and that's pretty fun and libelous and such. And outside of that, just follow us on all the socials at Shite Talk History, or email into us if you want at shitetalkhistory@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, follow, tell everyone. Or if you don't want to, that's what I should have said actually, if you don't want to do the Patreon thing, you don't want to pay for that, go leave reviews of the podcast somewhere and tell people about it. You know, open your window, shout out at people. The lads aren't the worst in the world. But with all of that out of the way, you might as well now sit down and enjoy a story you've probably heard way too many times in the past already, but we said we'd give it a lash, Shite Talk style. Enjoy, and we'll chat to you next week, or we'll see you at the gig tomorrow. Good luck.
Gather around now, you're in for a story. Old tales of lore, all in search of a glory. The history and mystery of lads, lasses and all. Discoveries and voyages, the rise and the fall. Follow me now as we go back in time. We trace the steps of Irish lineage to find. Joseph from Carlow and Kevin the dog guide you through the ways of Shite Talk.
Kevin, for this story, I'd like to transport you back to the times of the Tuatha De Danann. The that ancient mythological race of like Irish fairy people.
I know them well, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've talked about them before, and I've said I will do a full story on them at some point, and I just keep kicking that can down the road.
Just we'll do it in 2025.
Yeah, but if we occasionally do stories from it,
eventually,
and never actually,
yeah.
Maybe everyone, all the listeners will just go and do their own backstory research, and we won't have to do the big, because I feel like that'll be one of those, like the history of the 12th.
It would just take a load of,
Yeah, it'll be a whole series, and I'm going to have to learn a lot of stuff about. I don't want to do that.
Let the listener just piece together random episodes spread out over the course of 7 years.
Are you talking about for the Tuatha De Danann, or like our mental health?
For which?
I would say, like, if you piece together a lot of things over the space of 7 years, you'd probably learn a lot about us.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, this story is set that day.
That
or
day.
In those times.
Yeah.
That day, those days. You know how days work.
April 1st, minus 2063.
Now, set against the backdrop of the end of that period. So I probably shouldn't have brought it up anyway. But it'll come up. It's of relevance. But it's at the end of that period and the start of the I was going to say Malaysians, the Milesians.
Yeah, the little people.
The non-magical people.
Yes.
Or basically where we came from, kind of, sort of.
Sure, yeah.
There's a man called Bo Darragh, and he's been given the crown of the King of Tuatha, much to the chagrin of Lir, a man who thought himself to be the rightful king, or at least reckoned he'd have a fair crack at being the king.
He just wanted to be considered for the role, you know? I just want to... It's just nice to know that you're actually considered.
Well, yeah, it's nice to get the answer and then to turn it down.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. All I wanted was the opportunity to walk away from this job.
Now, as far as I can tell, Bo Darrig is the son of Dagda, who was a big swinging god-like figure back in the day.
Okay.
You know, so it's like Tua nepotism.
So he's just passed on the crown to his son, Bo Red.
But in fairness, he's meant to be a great warrior himself and a family man as well. So that has some sway in this.
He's got a father, you know, unlike Lir.
Nah, he's got a wife and some kids. Now Lir has a wife, but no kids.
Ooh.
And a big part of that is she's after dying there.
Ooh, a dead. He can't even hold on to his wife in the land of the living. I don't think we can trust him.
How could you be a king in the land of the living if your wife was dead?
Exactly. Yes, and no kids in that day and age. That's a red flag for me.
Now Lir isn't too happy about all of this, and like all good men who lose an election, he says, "Not my king. The election's rigged. Yeah. I demand a recount, and let's storm the whatever the equivalent of the Capitol building would be."
There's countless elections over the millennia where the loser has just said, fair play to you, the best man won on the day, you know, I'll try again next time, but, you know, well done to you. And all those people are boring losers. Each and every one of them. Never concede. Whenever they're doing the phone call in from the other party to like call off the election early, never do that. Run it into the ground.
Oh yeah, I've never understood that.
Because there'd be people like 20-year-old me will be working in the voting centre, just praying, hoping for someone to contest the election so you get paid. If it goes into Sunday, you're getting paid like triple time. Another 12 hours sitting around counting the same votes again to confirm that yes, Dana is not the president. Like
teachers who have to do the recorrections on the leaving cert.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think you could squeeze another mark or two out of it.
Yeah. Or do they do recorrections for the junior cert? And if so, that's the biggest waste of money I've ever heard of.
Absolutely. I don't know if they do. Probably, it's not even called the junior cert anymore, is it?
Is it the inter cert again?
It's back to the inter cert. It's gone full circle.
It's like fashion and schooling terms. It all comes around in circles.
Mm-hmm.
Is it circles or cycles?
It used to be circles, but it'll be cycles again now.
Lir refuses to swear allegiance to Bo Darrig, and this causes awful hassle. He wouldn't even go to his coronation. People.
Yeah,
that's bad form.
I mean, you don't want to go to a coronation at the best of times, though. I'd have no interest in seeing anyone's coronation. If you became president, I don't think I'd show up. I tell you, I was there.
Think of the party I'd throw.
No, I'd be there for the party, but like for the actual swearing in ceremony or whatever, I'd come up to you afterwards and be like, "Great, you look great up there, man. Great job." I wouldn't have been there.
Man,
I'd be late.
That's where my party begins. There's start as you mean to go on. If I'm not partying as I'm been sworn in, what's the point in even being president?
Yeah, I just feel like there'd be a lot of Latin and a lot of shaking hands and standing around. I just want to get straight to the good stuff.
But then you can see me when they recite the Latin to me and I'm meant to give it back to them, and I just have a go at guessing whatever, or I just try to sing like Gigi D'Agostino. You could just go with anything. Latour's yours.
It would be funny to see a whole field of people realize what a horrible mistake they'd made.
Yeah, it was like all of the news broadcasts the morning after Brexit, just when there was interviewing English people going, I thought it would be a bit of crack. I just couldn't really... Are you saying we're not doing a recount? We're not going to go again? This is best 2 out of 3. Best 2 out of 3.
Brennan was a protest vote, really. Not protesting anything in particular. I just wanted to shake things up a bit. He was also, like Brennan Jason. He was the first person on the bill. So I just, I thought it'd be funny.
His initials were BJ. I mean, I didn't think everyone would vote for him. So it's a real dick move on Lir's behalf, and people aren't happy. Everyone wants to have a go at him, but Bo Derek there, as the tried and trusted leader that everyone expected him to be, goes, no, lads, it's time to extend the olive branch. You know,
Nice.
fighting a man now is just going to cause more hurt, more hardship. And seemingly the king had died maybe in a battle or whatever, or something close to it. So, I'm not fully, the last one, so I'm not fully sure. I would say, if you wanted a better retelling of this story, there's really good versions of it on episodes of Candlelit Tales and Fireside.
Don't plug other podcasts on this podcast.
I'm going to continue to do that, especially for this, because after I did all the research, I went back and listened. I listened to their stuff then, and they can pronounce all the names correctly. They've got the facts in order.
You don't know that. You don't know that for sure.
No, but I do know that mine are definitely incorrect.
Ah,
Or if not, they say the names at least with confidence.
yeah. Okay.
So that's
fair enough.
Yeah. So I would, if you're interested in the story by the end of it, go listen to that, or pause this now, go listen to that, and then come back to it. Actually, no, that is one step too far. That's plugging.
Yeah, listen to it if you want, but not at the detriment of this podcast.
Yeah. Now, this olive branch he's extended comes in the form of, most political favors and offerings. It's to give them your daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But not presumably to the fact that Lir has no daughters. He's not giving it to Lir as a daughter.
No, I think he's given it in lieu of his wife that just died. So he's like,
Yeah.
you know what? Do you know what would cheer you up now with a dead wife? Another one.
Well, how did the first wife die? Maybe we're being harsh on Lir. Maybe he didn't do anything wrong.
It's one of those. It wasn't important.
Of course, yeah,
She's dead. Don't look into it. Nothing to see here. Keep on moving along, please. No, that's not an arm hanging out of a dumpster.
But that's that's the reason for having big families back then. You just parcel up your daughters, send them off to make allegiances.
Or in many countries, that's the reason why you have many wives. Because, well, what if one wife dies? You're not going to be upset there and then have to find a new wife when you're a grieving widow. Who's going to want you? You're crying on dates. Everything reminds you of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just have multiple and then just kind of let the other one console you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read a comment on Reddit maybe recently where someone was saying that they just had someone cancel a date on them. She's like, because apparently my grieving of my recently dead husband was, to quote, too intense for them. Now, if you're talking about this on random message boards, maybe she was like, what a bastard. But like, if you're,
oh wait, you're gonna go onto the internet and complain about that. You're gonna get torched.
Yeah, but no, you definitely brought that up several. So it was a first date, and she'd brought up her dead husband several times apparently already before they'd even met.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
I mean, listen, it's a shit situation to be in, but
But there's no option on dating apps for that. There's there's all these options to hit the button that says like have kids, want kids. Even now it's like vaccinated, unvaccinated, like all of that, wherever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but there's nothing there to click on to say like grieving widow.
Yeah.
And there's also at the same time, in terms of preferences, there's nothing there to click to look for a grieving widow.
That's what I mean, because as soon as you put up grieving widow, you're just going to get people who are like,
yes.
Yeah.
But now, in fairness, Eve, she marries Lir and they get on like a house on fire.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's thinking this
extremely dangerous and volatile.
Yeah, no, but they love each other. They're
So Eve is Bo Derek's daughter.
Yeah, so she marries Lir, and now Lear's thinking, this Bo Derek fella, he's not the worst of them. So he's calmed down.
He stole the election. Didn't like that. He did hand me over his daughter. That's working out pretty well.
I didn't like it, but damn if I didn't respect it. It's a move he would have pulled himself had he could have.
Yeah, if he had kids.
But now these two fellas in cahoots.
Is that all it took? Just one daughter and now they're friends?
Yeah, but like a daughter that you love and you get on great with, they're getting on great. I can't stress this enough.
You keep you are stressing it too
they're
much.
Having,
it's suspect.
It's called foreshadowing, Kevin, and
and I'm laying it on.
And it's classic Scorsese storytelling, right?
It's 5 shadowing at this point.
Eve has 4 children with Lir. See?
Not great.
Again, 4 shadowing.
Right.
One daughter, Fionnuala, or it's one of those. It's definitely Fionnuala, but it's the old Gaelic spelling.
Yeah. Fionnuala.
No, I didn't say that. That's just the chest infection that I have. It's
Yeah.
Fionnuala. And then 3 young lads, one named after the mother, Eve, and then
Bold move.
and then a set of twins called Fiacre and Con. Now, unfortunately, at the time, it's dangerous enough in Ireland, in mythical times gone by years ago. It's difficult to have 4 kids and still come out on the other end.
Yeah.
To twins.
And at that stage, you must be annoyed to waste one on a woman as well, Fionnuala, although she'll make a good husband for an allegiance later on down the line, you'd rather get another man in there.
And I think she was the first as well. So you're getting your best, and it's that's just, you're basically just getting a dowry, which isn't bad either.
I can sort of see where this is going now. I'm guessing Eve doesn't make it through.
No, well, she dies there. Yeah, you've did you see how I set that up, Kevin?
Yep, expertly done, I must say.
Thanks.
I felt attached to the character that you forgot to give a name to, and then immediately killed off, like in the next sentence.
Yeah, Eve. Aoibh.
Yeah.
Now Lir is awful sad about this, and there's a way to make him feel better.
Yeah.
His old friend Bo Darrig thinks, I don't want him going back to his old ways where he thinks I'm a gobshite. So, what cheered him up the last time when he was all moody? A wife. And that was after his wife had died. Well, his wife has died again. He sets about getting him a new one.
Bo Darrig's got the brain trust on this. There's just red wire strings going across chalkboards, men working through the weekend trying to sort out this. And finally someone comes up with, what if we did the exact same thing we did last time, but we do it now? And
also, it new and improved because the last time he got his eldest daughter. This time, hot new young thing, second eldest daughter.
Right, yes. So now the twins and the other 2 kids, they've got an aunt mother.
Yes, and Aoife.
Okay.
A lot of people say that Bo Darrig did this because he loved his grandkids. And he loved his daughter Aoife, but he loved the grandkids, as did Aoife and as did Lir. As did Eve, I should say.
Yeah, if you love your grandkids, there's nothing better than putting them into a fucked up family situation.
Well, I mean, at the time.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Maybe even at the time they were like, this is messed up.
I bet they were probably thinking that at the time, just going like, yeah, it might feel weird now, but in history, people will think, I mean, you got to give them some leeway. They didn't have running water.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. But Aoife, the kid's auntie, new ma, she's not too happy because she's been looking for the attention of her dad. She's been wanting the attention of this her husband, but he's grieving over his dead wife.
Right.
And now he's trying to, he's looking at the kids going, I may kind of look after these now, step up to the plate. Wife's after dying. She was probably doing the majority of the work around here. Yeah,
It's only around then he started learning the names. He actually thought the twins were one kid. It was the first time he saw them both at the same time.
Who's your man from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Ghostbusters?
Yeah. Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis. I was going to say Harold Ramis. Yeah, it's not him. It's Rick Moranis.
No, Harold Ramis is dead.
Rick Moranis might be dead now. He got punched last year. Did you see that?
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, it was just some random
New York assault, yeah.
Yeah, it was some random attack, yeah, and then he got punched and everyone was like, yeah, it would be fine if it was just some random old man, but this is Rick Moranis, a guy who was in 2 films 40 years ago, and therefore this assault means something to us.
Well, maybe the guy knew who he was, though. It wasn't like a random one, just so he wanted to run home and go, honey, I punched Rick Moranis. And he's a lot shorter in person than you would think.
As is everyone on the big Hollywood screen, Jason. Don't let them fool you. But are you going to say that, Rick Moranis' wife died and he quit acting to look after his kids?
Yeah. At the height of his fame, and everyone loved him. Got out on top.
Yeah. Yeah. Except that one guy who punched him. A dead wife is no excuse not for not for not doing Honey I Shrunk the Kids 4.
But is a man notorious for wearing glasses again? What kind of filth to be on the streets to not go by the code?
I think but you can punch a glasses wearer in the back of the head. That's kosher.
Oh, he is Jewish.
Listen. Come on, let's not kid ourselves here.
But yeah, Aoife is obviously vying for the attention of her dad, who's after falling in love with his grandkids now, so she's kind of been like skipped over in terms of that. And the older daughter, Eve, was kind of the number one in the household anyway. She comes in as second fiddle. Lir doesn't really have much time for her because he's
second fiddle. That's a horrible way to describe his second wife.
No, the third.
She's his third wife.
Yeah,
she's third
so
fiddle.
she's just hanging around basically. Now I read somewhere that they would all sleep in the same bed, the dad and all the kids. Which again, I don't know if that was weird at the time. I think he's looking after the kids. Also, everyone around loves these kids. Everyone thinks they're great kids. It's like Macaulay Culkin. It's like 4 Macaulay Culkins. It's like Macaulay and Kieran Culkin, and who's the other one?
I don't think it's important. It's just Macaulay and Kieran.
Okay, no, I think now there's another one who's gone more important than Macaulay ever since he went weird.
Yeah, Kieran, but he's the second one. He's in Succession.
But that's also the one from Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but there's a blonde brother out there somewhere. I'm telling you, and there might be another one coming up after. Trust me on this. Trust me on this.
I'll take your word for it. I mean, they're all definitely in their 30s now.
Oh, I'd say one of them might be young. I think there's like a young up and coming, kind of like the youngest Olsen. But there's just, I was saying there, everyone thinks that these kids, great little kids, not a problem at all. Aoife though, she's a bit jealous of them. Because in fairness, Dad loves them. New husband has no time for her, won't even sleep in the bed with her because she's, he's too busy sleeping with all of his kids. He's too busy lying in bed with all.
Yes.
Clean that sentence up for me.
I don't think there's any good way to put it, but he's close to the children, his children. There's nothing wrong with that.
Now, like any underappreciated woman in a relationship, she has a great idea. So what does she decide to do?
I forgot. I was thinking you were foreshadowing that something's going to happen to these kids, but I forgot. I already know what happens to the kids.
Yeah, you know this story.
Yeah, I forgot that for a second there. Well, she decides to get the kids out of the picture. That'll focus up Lir's attention to her.
Well, yes, but before doing that, she goes, that's a terrible thought to be having. So I'll pretend to be sick in bed for over a year instead. That'll really get his attention as a nice plan B.
Okay.
Now, again, some people say that's because she genuinely felt sick and she felt so bad about going, feck these kids. Do you know? Like that's it's an awful thought to be having.
Enough to drive you to the bed.
Pretty much.
Is Munchausen or Munchausen syndrome? Is that pretending to be sick to get attention, or is that poisoning someone to make them sick to get their attention?
Is that from Shakespeare or something, or Wilde? Is that someone just making up a word again?
Oh, I don't know.
It's Munchausering, like bun burying.
Yeah, it's probably some man called Munchausen. Psychological disorder where someone pretends to be ill or deliberately produces symptoms of illness in themselves so that someone feels bad for them.
No, you're saying stand-up comedian.
That's a whole different illness. There's also Mighty Munchausen syndrome where people
eat pickled onions.
And then someone's like, "Jeez, have you never had Tato?" And then they buy them a bag of crisps and they're like, "Haha, oh, this is great. First time eating these." And then they do it again the next week.
I had rancheros there for the first time in about 3 years, just yesterday.
Oh yeah, you must be loving this now.
Oh, it's great. And I need to get some Mighty Munch now that you say it. Mighty Munch, Monster Bunch. What else am I looking out for? Prawn and cocktail Tato.
Yeah.
Banshee bones.
The full smorgasbord.
Yeah. What else are we talking here? Quick fire Irish crisps.
We've already done this bit now, I think. Wheelies. I'll put them all in a horse trough bag and bring them down to you during the week.
Okay. Well, they won't last long.
No.
Keep them away from me. Drip feed them to me once a week as we do the podcast. Give me a new bag every week.
Yeah.
Keep me entertained. Now, while she's in bed, people are awful concerned for Aoife. For a while anyway. It's hard to...
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to keep paying attention to her when you've got these deadly little whippersnappers running around, and 4 of them at that.
Yes. And I mean, what year is it roughly? Or do you know?
It's back in the day.
Back in the day. I mean,
It's in the day of the Tuatha Dana.
yes.
So it's a time that didn't exist. So
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
so basically pick your own time.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not that unusual to see a sick person at the time. The real wonder is living children. If a woman's sick in a bed...
No, the real thing is someone living through a sickness. She got sick and she wasn't dead within a week, and they're like, she's
pretty
probably
interesting.
faking.
Yeah.
And then 51 weeks later, they're like, well, she's probably definitely faking.
Yeah. That's not a thing that can happen.
But as a way to make her life a bit easier, and I think at this stage she stopped being in the bed, she thinks, well, you were just saying there, let's go on a trip and I'll bond with these kids, or have them killed.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. She's in tight with the Clintons.
Yeah.
She tells all her henchmen and cronies that she's tired of not being Lear's one and only, so they should go kill these kids, and then she'll reward them with a bunch of money or whatever is valuable at the time.
Yeah. Whatever it is that they're into at the time. Bits of moss.
Oranges, I'd say.
Oh, an orange would blow their minds at that time.
For scurvy as well, yeah.
Yeah, they don't even think they're on boats yet. That scurvy is just a land problem, but a big one. Land scurvy.
Ireland probably can't grow oranges, but remember, this is the time of magic, people. So,
but that's why that's why it would interest them so much. I mean, I don't think we had potatoes back then. They're just foraging berries and eating apples.
Ireland's always had potatoes. Even that's
even before
Sir Walter Raleigh. I mean, that's kind of the equivalent of, when St. Patrick was like, oh, I got rid of all the snakes in Ireland. It was like, they were never there to begin with. Sir Walter Raleigh came over and just named the thing that everyone was eating.
Or this is like Mighty Munchausen syndrome, where he came over with a big box, like a ship full of potatoes, and we were like, oh, cool. Haven't seen these before. Thank you. We'll take those. Cheers. And ate them out of house and home.
But now, the only problem with her plan here is that her henchmen and cronies, or homies, as if you would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, that's where the term comes from.
Okay, henchmen and cronies.
They think that the kids are dead sound, so they go, you're going to have to do it yourself. But we respect you so much and we're kind of friends with you. We're not going to tell anyone about this.
That's a real henchman move.
That's a way to back out of it, going, I'm not going to defend it, but...
Not going to stop you.
Work away.
I was watching Minority Report recently. That's a hell of a film.
Oh, yeah, underrated.
Great, yeah. That scene where the Red Bull comes out for Tom Cruise's character. I've always liked you, Chief. I'll give you a 10-second head start before you hit the alarm. I'm not going to murder these children at your behest because I kind of like them, but here's a knife.
And I'm going to look the other way.
I won't follow you for 4 hours.
Well, she does actually have a knife. She has a big sword and she sneaks up behind them and then doesn't do it.
Coward.
Can't get the blood, can't be caught red-handed, can't get the blood on her hands. So She says, and it's too obvious a murder as well. It's 4 kids' bodies. They're gonna show up somewhere. You got to be more calculated about this, so people don't expect anything.
Yeah, calculated, like telling everyone in your husband's employee what you're planning to do.
Well, your homies, Kev. It's your homies.
Right. Yes, of course.
Yeah, you need to do this like fancy style. You need to almost make it look like they've done it to themselves.
Okay.
She hatches a plan to bring them down to Loch Derravara in Westmeath, or Loch Darvrock. And are you thinking Shutter Island? Because I was thinking Shutter Island.
Oh, I wasn't thinking Shutter Island. I was thinking it's fun to see you struggle to pronounce Irish names. For a change. I
was struggling with that and I got very self-conscious, so I just jumped into movie references to make myself feel more at home.
Yeah, I know. I know this game. No, I wasn't thinking of Shutter Island.
I was like, hey baby, why are you all wet? And she's like, I'm wet because I was drowning the kids there in the ocean.
Ah, which also happens in Minority Report. But so she's brought them down on a family field trip to this lake in Westmeath. Oh
yeah, I should say the trip is on the way to from their gaff to go see Bo Derek up in Tara. That's how, and Lear's not going to go with him, as for some reason. And isn't it always the way? You know, it's kind of like, you know, Madeleine McCann and that crack. It's always like, just I left him alone for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 2 hours. Okay, it was 8 drinks. But can a couple not have fun? Can a couple not relax on holiday?
I mean, you're saying it like that, but yes.
So she says, why don't you go down there and wash yourselves? But instead of drowning them and then making it look like an accident, she does the next best thing. She casts a spell on them to turn them into a big group of swans.
What?
Yeah, Wingardium Leviosa swan.
Well done.
Thanks.
That's a slow clap. Jesus. All right. Oh, the Children of Lir turned into swans?
I know, and that's where our story... I know, we're already into it now. It continues from here.
Yes.
Fionnuala says...
She had the ability to turn them into swans all along.
Yeah, but you couldn't be doing that in the front of people, because then people would be like, that's bad form.
But you could be swinging a sword around at them.
But that's obvious, though. You can't... Now, she does make... Okay, so here's the problem with it. So Fionnuala
There's several problems with it, but give me one of them.
Hey, well, let's go through them as a list. So Fionnuala goes that, here, now that's not sound at all. Says they're, you know, if they're not turned back into kids, there's going to be hell to pay. Also, she has left them the ability to talk, that's the biggest problem, really.
That's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, because at first, you know, you remember like, oh, they can sing, can't they? And you're like, oh, they'd have to communicate through singing, and you're like, this is an opera then, or some kind of a play. And you're like, I get it, it's going to be on Broadway. No, they can sing and talk.
They can talk, but they choose to sing.
I think they can sing really good songs, but their talking is kind of like Gareth Gates.
Okay.
There's a really annoying voice. When they go and sing, they lose that, and then they're just singing really horrible songs of sorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, or beautiful songs of sorrow, I should say.
Yes, yeah.
But other than that, they kind of sound like they have a really high-pitched, nasally voice, maybe, like a David Beckham.
Okay. Is one of them going to get like a record deal and then have to make a hard choice about turning back?
We'll get into it now.
Okay, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I won't jump ahead to the record stage then.
Yeah, and to the story that's been told 1 billion times at this stage. Really, this is a story for just... I needed to write something for this week's episode, and I was reading about Children of Lir.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting story. There's probably about 4 people that haven't heard it.
Yeah, maybe they're American fans, and people all over the world who are second generation who mightn't have heard this. Because I know that it was on my... it was on the wall that we played football against, like in school, in primary school. It was like one of the goals. So for a good 3-4 years of my life, I did spend shooting at the Children of Lir.
It's where there's a really class statue of them in the Garden of Remembrance there, where like Parnell Street meets the top of O'Connell Street.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's where I used to get the bus from. So I wandered
Is that
around
what
there.
that statue's of?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I remember in college one time I had to do a photography assignment, but I'd forgot and it was too late and it had to be due at say 11 a.m. I was like, all right, I'll just get a bus at 7 a.m. into the city, go around and take photos of statues or historical things. That'll be grand. And that was going to be one of the ones. I was like, right, I'll do Parnell Street stuff on O'Connell Street, and then I'll go up to the Garden of Remembrance and take photos. And then it didn't open until 12 that day. I took photos of it through the gates, and we're like, and this shows the people being trapped. It's artistic. It's artistic, and I'm bad at scheduling things.
I don't see any link. If you'd known what they were, that's an even better angle.
Oh yeah, I could have bullshitted my way actually properly through that, but sure, look, here I am today, regardless.
Yes, yeah. But it's definitely worth going and staring at that statue for 10 seconds, and if you've got the time, in the 2 hours a day where the park's open.
I was going to say, make sure it's at a time when it's open.
Yeah.
Or else bring a zoom lens.
Yeah.
I'm saying from personal experience, do bring a zoom lens. Now, it's not a forever spell. It has a time limit, or that's what most people say.
Okay.
But it might as well be, because it's like 300 years as to spend as a swan on Loch Darvrak, Derivara, and then 300 years to spend on Lake number 2, and then 300 years to spend on Lake 3.
Okay. What? It doesn't matter. This is like the whatever series of trees always show up in these old Irish stories. So it's 300 years on 3 different lakes.
Yeah, because this is actually part of a triplet of stories. But the other one is Deirdre of Sorrow, and I was saying to you earlier on, what's the other one? The Sons of Tyrion or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're always to do with sorrow. So you just go like, all right, we need 3 really good, painful stories to just put together inside of a little like playbook.
Yeah. But it's the same as now, like everything, the comedy of
I was going to say, that sounded like a playbook, like a book of plays, not like
of course, yeah. Not like a strategy book.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so what's the point? Like if you just want to get the kids out of the way, why have them live for 900 years as swans?
I think she's not made a great decision, and I think she, to be honest, she regrets it instantly anyway. But I think the magic was too strong, and she couldn't turn it back.
Wouldn't you know?
Yeah. So, and in fairness, she has left them to be able to, they can sing and they can talk, but again, it's depressing songs, but beautiful, like Ray LaMontagne,
or Damien Rice,
or Men at Work,
or Men at Work. They truly did come from a land down under.
No, they've got what's that one your man did? Maybe it's his solo career he did on Scrubs. What was it?
Oh yeah,
My Overkill.
Yeah,
or is it just Overkill? Yeah, but anyway, so she heads back to Bo Darrig, and then she gets there to Tara, and he's going, well, you're meant to be coming with the kids. Where are they gone off to? And she says, well, Lir loves him so much, and he doesn't trust you. He didn't want them coming over here to see you. And he goes, well, that doesn't sound like Lir. He's been an awful sound man ever since I've given him my first 2 daughters.
Of course, that usually gets a man's trust. Are you sure she didn't look to the camera and say, oh, I'm sure they're swanning around somewhere? And then the audience would boo and hiss.
This looks a little fishy. Do swans eat fish? They do.
I don't know. For this, what do you think? The average shitheel in the panto audience knows that? Let's just write this up and be done.
Oh, damn it, I forgot there is some part of this story there's a big look behind you moment, but I don't think I wrote it in because depending on anyone's telling of this, because it is obviously, it's taken from some other country like Greece or somewhere, and it's just been adapted to Ireland. So there's...
there's famous Greece swans.
No, a Greece panto. That's
of course.
A Greece panto would be great. Look behind you. It's the T-Birds.
All right.
Go to the lake for 300 years, because that's what they have to do. Jesus, Bo Darrig's not happy at all. I would
imagine not.
Yeah, he doesn't really believe it to begin with. He sends off an informant back, or a messenger, they say, down to Lir.
But we all know.
Yeah, we know what that. Yeah, we know
a snitch.
Yeah, two-faced so and so. But he goes down to Lir and goes, right, what's the deal with the kids? Your man wants to see him. He goes, hold on now, my wife has the kids. And he goes, oh, she's that feckin' one who hates the kids. Remember?
That's who she is.
What was I thinking in my folly?
Yes.
So he sets off looking for them. Informant goes back to Bo Darrig and goes, nah, man, he's saying not a sign of him. He goes, I know what's happening here.
He can put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, Aoife, you're after murdering the kids, haven't you? She goes, not at all. I turned them into swans for about 900 years. She's like, well, that's still not great.
It's not as bad.
It's not ideal. In some ways, it's worse.
No. Yeah, would you rather be dead or a swan for 900 years? I'd probably go swan. I
was thinking about this, though, that there's 4 swans here. So it looks like there's going to be, like, 2 couples. Because swans always stay with their, like, life partner. Everyone's thinking this is, like, an incestual group of swans. Everyone's going to be looking... I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying people would have been looking at them like that.
Yeah. Oh, sure, because all the other swans would die.
And they're from the country.
But people say that, like, swans made for life. But, like... If aliens came down, they'd probably say that we made for life.
Maybe. But what if
But there's got to be like some slut swans out there.
what if a swan dies and then their rival comes along and says, "Hey man, look, I've got a
Here's a signet for you.
yeah."
Yeah.
Oh, that signet died, as they tend to do. Well, here, I have my second oldest signet.
I know she's not much of a looker now, but that was a reference to some Hans Christian Andersen. Do you know that story?
The Ugly Duckling.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Okay.
You're not going to. Hey, I got this new story, Little Bo Peep.
Yeah, you do realize you're telling the Children of Lir.
Okay, I'll shut my face. So Lear goes off hunting for them, gets to the first lake, and actually comes across a bunch of swans.
Well, now you say hunting.
Well, looking for them. No, he's looking for. He's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not going to take care of this.
No, he's not got like a swan whistle going like.
Yeah.
And then just.
Tis no life as a swan. We'd be better off dead.
They grab hold of his arm and break it. That's
Yes.
as they're known to do.
Yeah, is that true, or is that just like an urban legend or a suburban legend?
Like something like a wives' tale, maybe. But then I was walking the River Barrow like last week, which is actually what got me onto the Children of Lir, because I was walking by and I had headphones in and I saw a little dog, and the dog like ran away real scared, and I looked just over to my left, and because I have terrible periphery vision, and I looked over and there was two swans, because I hadn't heard them, but they were just hissing. Just like, and again walking closer, and I got the fright of my life. I'm like, they're coming for my legs. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I wasn't hanging around to find out.
I was at a bird sanctuary in New Zealand, and some ducks started running after me and hissing, but they were all like tiny. But now it's good that there was a bird sanctuary there to look after all these rare birds and stuff. But then on the other hand, these ducks didn't know predators. They had led a coddled life, and they were chasing me around. They were like, I could have booted them off. I've never seen such arrogant ducks.
How many ducks do you think you could boot before they got to you?
Oh,
like if you had
they were tiny. They were like, they weren't ducklings, but they were.
I'm saying 100 ducks. Could you kill 100 ducks?
Could I? Yes. Would I want to? Just point me in the right direction.
Don't give me the opportunity to find out. You're thinking way too many. I think like you wouldn't go past 10 ducks.
Yeah, after 10, you're probably like, what am I doing? No,
but
or maybe the bloodlust would set in.
You're not used to kicking things.
No, that's true.
I don't believe your stamina would hold up for 100, no matter how small.
No, well, it's fucking duck, goose. It's hammer time. I don't know what other catchphrases I'd have at this time.
It's time to duck, die nasty. There's not enough here, or if there is, I need to finish this story. Now, so he has found them, awful upset, but he goes, right, well, at least you're still around. I've got me kids. I'll just make sure now that I'll come down and keep seeing you. I think Bo Darragh kind of feels the same, as do all the town people. Remember I was saying earlier, and plus probably her homies too. Everyone loves these kids.
And old people love feeding ducks.
And now they're able to sing beautiful songs of sorrow. And Irish people love hanging around in groups, listening to sad stuff.
That is true.
Yeah, so they're the life and soul of the party at this stage.
Best thing that ever happened to those kids was being turned into swans.
Yeah, but now Aoife, not the best. When Bo Darragh...
Well, did they go on with their musical talents to write a play about their lives in their new home?
No, they were just more...
They write the musical Swan Lake.
No, I think this is actually based... A lot of people say that Swan Lake's based or very much so influenced off this story.
Okay, I have no idea what the story of Swan Lake is.
Neither do I just read that online, so it could be... So for all I know, Swan Lake could be a musical about how sad it is to have this beautiful lake and not one swan in
it. Or too many swans.
There's no such thing as too many, as long as they're even numbers again.
Yes.
Now, so Bo Darragh's punishment for Aoife says it'd have to be worse than that of the kids. So he asks her, what's the worst type of demon to be turned into? Tricking her before he's like probably angry at her, before she really knows he's not letting on. He's like, what would you think?
Oh, he's just
yeah.
This is a funny. I just read this on Instagram. This is a funny little thing. What demon wouldn't you like to be turned into?
What would you think would be a fair kind of punishment if you turned 4 young innocent children into, say, ducks for eternity. Ah, well, I don't know. I'd hate to be a demon of the air. You're always stuck in bad weather, destined to fly around the cold sky, sideways rain, screeching for all eternity. And he goes, well, that's what you're going to be now for eternity.
Oh, goddamn.
I tricked her. Caught her with the old, what demon wouldn't you like to be for eternity trick.
He got the old McNulty at the end of season 1 of The Wire. I like you, McNulty. I like you, Eva. I want to see you land all right. Tell me, what kind of animal don't you want to be? So they turn her into a bird.
Now David Simon's storytelling there is quite similar to mine.
Yeah, you're right. In many ways, you are the David Simon of Ireland.
Thanks. It's just I've been
You're both
and the Paul
failed journalists
and the Paul Simon.
And the Paul Simon.
I'm short and I'm
This the worst second hand of a duo. The only one that broke apartheid, but for different reasons.
Now, I'll take all of those as compliments.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So now she's up there now as a screeching demon. If you ever hear screeching in the air or any bad weather, just imagine her, because they say that's what it is still today.
Yeah.
But now
they say a lot of things about screeches in the air. I don't know, banshees, ghosts. In fairness, there was a storm here today, and it does get pretty wild out there.
Oh yeah, you hear whistling and that. You're kind of like, Omar's coming. You're like, no, it's just Ireland.
It symbolizes death on the wind.
It signalizes a drug deal gone bad, and a slightly open window.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, a draft is death to most of the citizens here.
So while the children are having a good time now down on the lake, friends and family around, couldn't be the worst way to spend 300 years. Again, remember, Tuatha Dé Danann used to live very long.
Of course.
So now, I think it's Bo Darrig, or it could have been Lir, but someone declares at this stage, which is where it comes from in Irish history, Kev, as much as the modern day, you can't murder a swan in Ireland. People don't like it.
No.
It's not a good thing. Ducks.
Ducks are grand.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Chinese restaurants around the country, but let's say less than PETA-friendly practices.
I think that's an urban legend about every Chinese restaurant.
Oh yeah, for sure. But also,
in the country,
it's the same one about like them all growing weed. That you're like, no, some of them do that.
Yeah, one of them might have stolen a swan once, but
But I think it's said of like every immigrant group that comes to the country. Because I remember locally it used to be said about the Polish lads.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but remember your man did it in Love Hate.
It's not as if we weren't hunting ducks as well.
But you remember your man did it in Love Hate in season 1, and people really didn't like that. Just they didn't like that as much as like Nidge dying at the end, or your man killing the cat. You can't murder swans or cats or Tom Vaughan Lawler.
No, those are the rules.
Yeah, anything with a neck that thin should just be left alone.
Yeah. But ducks are grand. I remember when I was a teenager, we were walking around the land, walking around the perimeters of land in Louth, and I met this guy who was friends with my grandfather. He was like, it's a terror now these days. I'm down here, and you know what it is? I haven't seen a duck all day, and we used to come down here from morning to dusk, and we'd be shooting ducks, and you'd be coming home with 20, 30, 40 ducks by time, and that was 50 years ago, and now there's not a duck left in the place.
It must be the Chinese and the Polish.
It must be the Chinese and the Polish. That's what it is. The immigrants coming in and taking them for their delicious, albeit delicious meals, but suspect.
But now at the end of these 300 years, one of them feels an awful pull on their breastbone, chest bone, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's time to head off to this other lake.
Lake 2.
And because I can't pronounce that. Let's keep going with Lake 2. Now, this lake isn't as nice, and they also don't know where they're going, so they can't tell anyone where they're headed to. So this lake, they have to spend it alone. And the weather's much worse, freezing cold, shocking windy. As soon as they get there, one of them goes, "Here, festival style, Kev, if we all get lost and your phone dies, what do you do?"
Me bag back here by the Jacks.
Yes, always by the Jacks, because worst case scenario, you need to go to the Jacks.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's grand. You just keep going back there, and then if no one's there, you go head off for another half hour, come back, wait to see if anyone else is there.
I came up with a scheme at one festival. I don't know if it's actually, instead of like, if you've lost a group of people, instead of like cycling around their names, I just walk around shouting my own name, like a Pokemon. Because it's more likely, because there's only one person with my name, and if I'm walking around shouting Larny, someone's going to be like, who the fuck is that?
I thought you were going to say Kevin. I was like, there's a lot more Kevins in
No,
the
that's
country
much more,
than
that's too common.
Yeah. So as I was saying, they all get, well, now thankfully they have done that, let's meet back up here, because almost instantly the weather's so bad they get blown away. Yeah, but they managed to come back. Oh, that's where that story came from. The look behind you, because one of them goes there, gets back, and sees one of the younger brothers. I think it's the oldest one, Fanula. She sees one of the younger brothers and goes, "Oh, look, there he is." But he's like exhausted, and he says, something like, "I told you I was right about coming back here." She's like, "Yeah, now if only the others were here." And he goes, "Look behind you." And then there they are, grand. And then I think this is the point where like it's definitely the Christianity story turning into, well, like this is the reason the story's been told through like the Christian prism, because they go, I think it's around this point then they decide, why don't we just pray to this God kind of fella that we don't know anything about or I probably haven't heard of, and go, Jesus, wouldn't it be great if the weather wasn't absolutely shite? And from that moment on,
fair enough.
Yeah,
which is suspect enough, because every Irish person has been praying for good weather ever since.
Well,
maybe they used up all of our good credit back then. But so where is this lake that it's so shockingly different from the tropical
Mayo, Leitrim, somewhere up around there?
But like, it's not going to be much different than like the balmy climate of West Beath.
No, but it's realistically, I mean, the story is probably Greece or something, and they were just like, oh, there's one like offshore or something that gets a lot of like waves, and in Ireland they're like, well, where do we not like? And they're like, just say like Mayo or something. Yeah.
It's like during any stand-up set. Where are you from? Leitrim. Sorry. Oh, I said Leitrim. No, I'm just sorry. Fuck you.
Maybe they do that Christian thing later on at the next lake, but either way, horrible time here. Leave there. End up running into a young lad who writes down their story. That's how we know. You always have to leave one person kind of, you got to meet someone. Or else we wouldn't know this story
that must
otherwise.
Have been but that must have been such a lucky break for that guy, because he's probably like you, last day of an assignment, going around trying to take photos of statues, and he's sat by a lake being like, what the fuck am I going to write a 2,000-word essay on by tomorrow? And some swan comes rolling up to him.
We haven't seen a man for 300 years.
Let me tell you a tale, my boy.
When they get to after the 300 years there, they feel that tug again, and but at this time now they haven't seen. See, I think maybe this fella says that lad might have been a part of the Tua-de Dana or something similar, right? So now they leave. This is where the story all gets confusing for me, and you should go listen to Fireside or Candlelit Tales. They'll have a better understanding of it. It's either at the end of this one or the next one, then, that they go looking for, as they're getting pulled away, they're actually getting close to where their dad used to live, so they go and look, and God forbid, it's ruins. They've been on the lakes so long. Even the Tua-de Dana are now dead, but they haven't died, Kevin. Damn. They've gone to the underworld in that story. Like that's how they leave Ireland. They do like Frodo, I think, and the elves in Lord of the Rings. They just go to like their happy place
and head off to the yeah.
Or like when the ground opens in Darby O'Gill and Little People, I think they go down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not entirely sure, but they're gone now and they've left the swans behind.
Yeah, they've done like the Irish goodbye, basically. They think they go, they've packed up and left, or they're dead, or whatever has gone on, but they're not around now.
Yeah.
But so on the last lakes, I think the last lakes might be 2 lakes, 150 years apiece, something like that, as a bit of a treat.
Okay.
But now, it's all terrible weather here as well, seemingly. But
shocker.
Or now maybe it's here. Now maybe it is this one. If it is here where this like pact with the devil, God, the other one, yeah, there. But it's like yin yang. It's yin and yang. It's kind of like what you can't have one without the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like love and marriage.
two opposite sides of a coin.
Either way, wherever it does actually happen, the weather gets so bad that the poor swans, their little toes and feet freeze in the water. I think that's when they call up the big old G man and go,
yeah,
they give God his flowers and go, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Some people say things about you. I actually think in person, one-on-one, you're grand. Maybe when you get a big group going, it all gets a bit out of your hands and you don't really know how to react. But I think one-on-one with you, you're probably a good person.
These are the real early days of God.
Yeah, these are the school days of God.
Yeah, this is where, he had plans. He was going to change this world. He was going to make a difference.
I like the idea of this one being the it getting a little bit better, because remember they had a load of fun in the first lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was grand. A load of friends, family around, it was all fine. And the second lake got a bit tougher as a struggle, but they learned a lot from it and grew and developed like a lot of stuff. And in the third lake, it's kind of like, it's not as bad. They get to tell stories. They get to have a little bit more crack. They maybe start questioning religion and societal things like that. Just, Kev, it's like the Irish school system.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Well done. That's a great analogy. Yeah. I don't know where this fits into the analogy, but it's suspect that the two did on a couldn't find them. Like Ireland's not that big. I think the news of 4 talking swans hanging out in the different.
No, they had magic, but they have horse. Oh no, they did have horses, because that's how Aoife brought them to the first one on horse in a carriage. Yeah, so they probably should have just.
Now you have magic, but have you got horses?
And they're singing.
Does your magic mean you can travel around the country?
But they're singing and talking swans. Like, it's Irish people can't keep any secrets together. No. You can't find one nice pub in Dublin without it being ruined because of loveanddublin.ie within about a week. But once their time is up, also maybe this is the time when they go by the Daz gaff, and it's all like, oh Jesus, everyone's gone or dead or whatever. But once they're at the last lake and they're done all of their time, this is when we're getting close to the end now. Remember that St. Patrick fellow we talked about and the Christianity that was just brought up?
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a holy lad walking about, and I think his name's Malachi.
No. Oh yeah.
But there was another Irish name I couldn't pronounce and wasn't willing to, so I'll go along with. I think that was Candlelit Tales called Malachi, and I'm like, I can definitely do that.
Well, young Melwyn Suckett.
Now he's,
or whatever St. Patrick's real name is.
I don't know, Clonafley Luchluanlet, I'd imagine.
I think it's Melwyn Sukat or Suckett, because he's Welsh.
Yeah.
He's got a fucking name with more
L's and W's than he does vowels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's not going to be.
He looks like a bad choice on Countdown.
Yeah. You'll find, Carol, that all the letters already spell out a word.
But now your man's walking around ringing a bell, and they're going, "Jeez, that sounds awful loud. Not really sure about this fella. The only sounds you want to hear around here are annoying swans, or else really beautiful, sad songs."
At this age, they're 900 years old, and they've also been the biggest act in the lake. Some new lad comes on with bells, like, fucking shut the fuck up.
You gotta learn your time.
This is our
lake.
lake.
This is not. Yeah, this is like country stars from the 60s going.
Or Christy Moore last week telling someone to shut up.
When I saw him the other week, and he was actually lovely.
Oh yeah, he's great, but he also has earned the right to tell someone to shut up.
In fairness, nobody was singing along unless he said, "Oh, come on now, if you know the words, sing along." And he did that about 3 times throughout, and that was enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he would just direct people. You could slap your left knee slightly. Slighter.
Yeah.
Slighter. Your man, Malachi, he's ringing the bell. They go over to him. They're chatting to him. He's probably going, "Oh, hold on now. What are you? Oh, Jesus Christ, you're the Children of Lir. I've been looking for ye.
Famous.
What's the crack? How are you getting on?" And they go, "Well, we probably have this 900-year or so curse that's actually probably over by now, but for some reason the day has come we never changed." he's like, right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll look after you. If you can leave the place now, brings him back to his. It's at this time that I think it's the king of Munster, or the son of the king of Munster, or maybe the daughter of the king of Connacht, or vice versa. That's how much effort I've put into this. That they're getting married, and it's their wedding day. And either the king of Connacht, or I'm assuming the servants, because he's not going to go down and get his hands dirty himself. He's a king. So I think he sends some homies down to go and get these swans as a gift on the wedding day. And that's a great wedding gift. The famous 900-year-old singing swans.
That is great, yeah. Not for the children.
No, God, no.
As a gift.
As a gift, it's beautiful. It's kind of like a parrot with clipped wings. You're like, I've always wanted. Actually, in hindsight, if I show this to anyone, they're going to think I'm an awful person. Yeah,
right.
I had a PE teacher who did that once for his girlfriend and was telling us about it, and it was like everyone was like, "Oh," all the girls were like, "Oh, that's so nice. Oh, you got her a parrot." And then I remember being in our business class, and it was coming to Valentine's Day, and someone was like, "What would you get your girlfriend, sir?" He's like, "I don't know. I certainly wouldn't have got her a maimed bird."
Yeah.
Here, honey, I fucked up an animal for you. Enjoy. And now don't worry, you gotta keep it inside of a cage.
Yeah.
Then what was the point of clipping its wings? Oh.
Now we will learn a couple of words like "help me" and "please release me," but you can just ignore those phrases.
This Malachi fella's having none of it. He's going, "No, leave him alone. Leave it out.
Have they've had enough.
These swans are sound. You're making a show of yourself, tip on." But they're having none of it. They go over and try and touch the swans, throw a net around them or whatever, try and pull them off. And it's at this point then that the curse finally ends.
Okay.
And they turn back into the young children. Now, it goes one of two ways. Either they turn into really, really old, they either turn into children and then age like very, very quickly into old people before your eyes, like a reverse Benjamin Button, or like a regular person.
Like a regular
just quickly.
button.
Just kind of like a flip book. Think of that. Like
a fast forward button.
Yes, exactly. Now, so it's either that or they turn into ancient people, and then they're just like, it's like when someone comes out of, if you freeze someone for a decade.
Yeah.
They're dead.
And they immediately,
They're already dead.
They're not coming back.
So now that they're all these old wrinkly people, because they've been left in the bathtub or wherever long enough, they've been in these lakes for years. So they're old, decrepit, they're brittle in bones. They're not.
Yeah.
So they age quickly, they turn into this, and right before they have time to die, this Malachi fella, he baptizes them all.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Gotta end on a hard,
any of this?
Strong Christian note.
Of course. But what about any of this is Christian? You just saw some people try and catch her swans, and the swans turned into children and then grew up 900 years before him. And he's like, the work of the Lord. You gotta get these babies baptized before
I don't know
die.
if he's ever seen them or not before, but he was probably hearing about, he's like, well, hold on now. There's these swans that are meant to be 900 years. If we can get these on our side. That's this story is going to go around for a while, so it's kind of like, just indoctrinate them early.
Yeah, this is like getting John Travolta into Scientology. This is a big get. This is a celebrity endorsement.
He was like, so swans, have you ever had any like homosexual experiences? Well, there was this one time. Aha, you're screwed for life.
Yeah, I got some photos of you and a duckling from 900 years ago. Be embarrassing if that got out.
She was only 12. I was only 1200 years of age. We lived for a long time. It's at the time it wasn't that weird. Go ask Jerry Lee Lewis.
Go ask Elvis Presley.
But so he baptizes them all, and then I think Fanula says, "Now we can all be at peace as long as you one last request, bury us all together so we can all finally be at peace together." And that's nice. The end of the story.
Yeah. That's good that they still wanted to be together at the end of 900 years.
Yeah, I suppose at that stage they were just kind of so far into it that they didn't know any other kind of way, and they're just going.
That's true.
It's like when you see people divorce in their 60s or 70s, you're like, would you not just stay living together out of convenience or just friendship? Just like, how much do you hate each other? How much do you regret not doing this 40 years ago?
Yeah, many people do, but that's a good retelling of the Children of Lir.
It is Lear, but then I feel weird because every time I was like,
Yeah.
now this lad never became king, so it wasn't King Lear, and that would have made it, that would have made it tough.
That would have much more,
Yeah.
This is L, I thought it, or.
Yeah. So that, but that's the first one, and now there's the is it the son? Yeah, what is it? The Sons of Tyrion or whatever, and then there's the Deirdre of the Sorrows and that crack. So I reckon we're going to do all of them.
Sure,
with
why not?
as much in-depth analysis as we've just done for this one.
Yeah, so you'll have both of those written in the next like half an hour.
Yeah, pretty much. I can do them. We can record those tomorrow and the day after. That'll be pretty quick. I've got like I've got half an hour on me tonight. That's
Yeah. Well, that was great. No, it's a really interesting story. One of the great Irish myths. But yeah, I wonder, does something similar show up in other European mythology? Maybe there's a Polish swan, and they give out about all the Irish people coming over and eating their pigs.
Probably, or it's like the Irish complaining about all the Vikings coming over and taking all of our best looking women.
Yeah. There's a reason though those Nordic people are beautiful, and me and you are here. But that's probably it then for this week.
And then if you want other people, for this episode, people, go research some of it yourself if you've not heard of it, or if you have, go and, because that's probably not the best retelling. Do some of your own research and figure some of it out. It's a good story, and it's like very sad and very Irish.
Yeah. Do your own research.
I did say that to one of my friends. I sent it to one of my American friends last week, and they said, that's a beautifully depressing story. And I was like, yeah, but what do you expect? It's Ireland. And they're like, why did I know you were going to say that? But that's just...
It's our major export. Misery and writing about misery.
Beautiful misery. It's just the...
Yeah.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll chat to you next week.
Yeah, good luck.
Shafter.